Welcome to FreeThinkers Fireside, where we put the human in humanist one cozy chat at a time. My name is Helen, also known as House Bells. I am your awesome host that does the show every week. And this week, I would like to introduce my guest, Rob Palmer, my fellow volunteer at Recovering from Religion. So let's say hi to Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hello, Helen.
How are you?
I'm okay. I hope this has worked out. I'm still looking at the thumbnail on YouTube, and it's.
I had to create a studio. I'll fix it. I'll fix it later. Don't worry about it.
I mean, you know, because it still says waiting for. Do you know that it's?
I know. But like, Crystal's here, so I know we're live. Miss Not Sequitur's here, so I know we're live. We're fine. I'll fix it.
It's a different link on
I'll fix it. It's just moody as fuck. So.
Technology, can't live with it. Pass the.
I know. So Rob, tell the people who you are and what do you do and all that stuff. Give us the lowdown.
Are they really interested? Who's here? Do they care who I am? I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe the most interesting thing about me is what I used to do. I don't know, because I was on a podcast to talk about investigation of psychics. And when they found out I used to design actual spacecraft, we spent the whole podcast talking about that, because you made stuff that goes into space. How did you land it on the moon? That was quite interesting.
That's what the people want to know, man.
What I do now is, besides the reason Helen knows me, which is that I am a volunteer for Recovering from Religion and one of the co-hosts of the RFRX weekly live stream show along with her. I am also a columnist for probably the biggest skeptical publication in the United States, at least, and maybe the world, Skeptical Inquirer, which is published by the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, which is under the umbrella of the Center for Inquiry, CFI. And I have been writing for them for quite a long time. It was something like almost 100 articles at this point, including an interview of none other than Helen.
Yes, I've been interviewed. It's kind of surreal when you're like in a publication like, that you've read. You're just like, oh wow! It's like, do I have notoriety now? Am I cool?
The question would be: are you Wikipedia notable to get a Wikipedia?
Right, and I'm not. I don't have my Wikipedia yet.
I'm not. So many people I know want a page, and they're not, and it's probably a good thing because
I'm not that interesting enough to have a Wikipedia page. To be perfectly honest,
you're not in control of your own Wikipedia page. So anything that gets dug up about anybody that's ever been published about you will wind up on the Wikipedia page. And
well, that's good to know. Holy jeez.
So I have an interesting story regarding Wikipedia and the guest for your next show.
Oh, yeah?
No, I won't talk about that one. Actually, I don't know if anyone knows. Yeah, I think actually, yeah, he did say this publicly once, at least somewhere. So... well, tell people so I don't break the news. Who's
okay. So my guest next week is Seth Andrews, and Seth's going to come on, and we're going to talk about saints, saviors and saints, how some believers fall for like bad leaders. So that's not the official title.
That's quite pertinent to the situation.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, because if you notice, Seth has been feeling a lot of feelings. So
Seth Andrews and Wikipedia. So Seth did not have a Wikipedia article about himself. And there's my cat. Can you hear that thing? I'm gonna pick Peggy Sue up. This is Peggy Sue for people who.
Yes, Peggy Sue likes to let everyone know who she is, and she's the best baby.
Very loud and needy.
Yes.
She was with me and talking in my ear when I was a guest on Skep Talk about 3 weeks ago, because she just stand the person on the phone. It was basically saying that Forrest would hang up on them. So yes, Wikipedia and Seth Andrews. So Seth Andrews did not at this point in time, I'm going to tell you, the story of which he did not have a Wikipedia article. He wasn't Wikipedia notable enough, right?
Oh.
At a conference, I don't know which one it was, behind the person who runs the Guerrilla Skepticism project on Wikipedia, who I work with, Susan Garbick. And Susan and someone else were talking about the latest page, I think, that the Wikipedia group had constructed on Wikipedia for a windmill. It was a famous windmill somewhere. And Seth leans over and goes, "A windmill's got a page and I don't?"
To be fair, I would kind of feel I would be wounded if I found out I had, like, you know, lost out to a windmill.
So Wikipedia has so many rules about what's notable and what's not. And
I'm going to teach you about that next week.
Famous buildings is a whole, you can do probably 1,000 Wikipedia articles on specifically what's notable in this category. So, famous buildings are different than people, and people aren't just one category. It's, are you a sportsman? Are you an entertainer? Are you a scientist? Are you an educator? All that kind of thing. And yeah, buildings are easier to get a Wikipedia article than for people.
I would assume, yeah.
But the following, yes, you can look now. He does have a Wikipedia article. In fact, thanks to the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia. So he was borderline at the time.
He has now been blessed by the skeptic community with his own Wikipedia page.
So someone actually from the Skeptics Guide to the Universe, one of the rogues who does not have a page, 2 of the people of the 5 do, and the other 3 do not. One of them asked me, Rob, can you get me a page? And I said, well, let me see. I'll get back to you. And I looked about what was available about him online and whatever, and it just wasn't enough, as I understand the notability requirements. And they said, well, the only way you're going to get one in any short time is if you kill someone in a notable way that's different from how other people have killed people. Because if you're in the news and they write about you because it's a bizarre, yeah, you'll get a Wikipedia article. But not if you're a science educator, have spent hundreds of thousands of hours trying to help people.
Right. No. Oh my God, that's funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the people usually trickle in later. Well, this is like, it always starts slow and then people start trickling in. It's just the way this podcast works. So don't be insulted. There's not a lot of people here. They will trickle in. It happens.
Well, I wasn't nervous because I don't know how many people are here. I can't see anything about that. So
okay, good. Then don't worry about it. Miss Don Sequitur's here. It's fine. She's the only one that needs to be here anyway. She's the most important. So
maybe it's because the original link is still there and it says,
No, I took it down.
You did? Oh, that's good. Good planning. Okay.
Because I can go into my studio and do that. So, but I figured out what I did wrong. So I know what I did wrong. So now that I know what I did wrong, it won't happen again next week. But I'm not going to tell you what I did wrong. I'm going to pretend that I learned from my mistakes, but I'm not going to say what I did.
Oh, so this means the link that I have on my own page to promote this is also not there, and now it's broken.
Yeah, but once they come here, well, you just copy the link from the YouTube page and post it on your thingies and be like a new link.
Yeah, you're right. So I just clicked it. Yeah, the other one is still on my Facebook page, and it's not going to work, is it? Is it? No video.
It's going to take people to my channel. It's going to show that you're live.
It just pops open to a page that says video unavailable. Go to home.
Then you need to put the new one up.
Okay, send me the new one in the chat, and I will do that live here.
Okay. All right. I can do that.
I don't know if it'll get you anybody, but some people were saying, "Oh, I'll try."
People will show up. Trust me. We know enough people. We know the people. We know people. I know people. I know a few people. Here, I'll even put it back on. I'll even put it on the Slack on the on our online programming channel. I do it too. Like I usually end up when I'm doing the stream, I'll post it on the socials that it's happening right now. And and I'll do like my preliminary. So,
Okay, so let's see. How do I change this on my own page? Edit. There's a real time changing here. Edit. New link. There we go.
Yep. Sorry. Listen, you would think after doing this for over a month, I'd be more professional.
That's what, that's what I didn't want to be on the first few days. And I thought, well.
Yeah, I know. Well, now you know. Well, like, listen, you're friends with me. We've known each other a long time. You should know that I am a walking embarrassment with great hair. so just know that going in.
Okay, and mine has updated anyway now. It actually has the live.
Thank you. No, it's non sequitur. I appreciate it. Okay, so let me go put it on my BlueSky, and then we can talk about what you want to talk about.
Oh, I was going to leave that up to you. You're the interviewer.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. Well, yes. Okay. So how do you live better through skepticism? So I'll start there, and then I'll go on.
Actually, I had mentioned in my own Facebook that I have to talk about cats too, because
we have to talk about the cats. That's the most important thing.
Susan Garbick in the chat, because then I'll talk about cats, because she likes to talk about cats. So better living through skepticism was what we put, didn't you? Is that what we put? Yes. So basically, it's because when you don't have a skeptical mindset on the world, you live in fear, and it's unnecessary. Fear, right? There's real things to fear about what happens in the world and what's going on in the world, could possibly. But to pile on the unnecessary nonsense that comes by just accepting nonsense when you hear it, not having a critical mindset of how you determine what's real and what's not real, just makes your life worse. And, I have seen this in a lot of ways, right? On the helpline for recovering from religion, one of the predominant reasons people call us is because they're fear of hell, right? So they've had this concept introduced by humans to control people, probably, and for other reasons, but that's a big one. And it's so much a part of their mindset that even that they're doubting that their holy book is legitimate, they can't get over the fear that's been put into their minds about that, right? That one false move, I do anything this invisible deity who's watching me doesn't like, I'm going to burn forever. Other people who believe that they're going to miss the rapture, right? My cousins are in that bank. They're all evangelical Christians. They told me when there was the Left Behind movie that was on maybe 10 years ago.
One with Nick Cage.
That's exactly right. It was a good disaster movie, but it was about.
I saw that movie. It was a fun movie.
Yeah. So yeah, if people hadn't seen it, he's a co-pilot, and flying when the rapture happens, and the pilot disappears, and just his Jesus medal and his clothes are there in the pilot seat, and half the passengers are gone. But the big problem is you can't land the plane, because some of the pilots on the planes on the runway just stop the plane and they're gone, and the air traffic controllers, some of them are gone. So it becomes a disaster movie. But my cousins wrote, "You have to watch this movie. This is real. This is about to happen." Yeah, and they've been living like this for their whole lives, and they were not children to do this.
Hasn't the rapture supposed to be happening for like 2,000 years now? So,
well, actually, I don't even think the rapture, as it's believed, was a thing. We can ask people who are into Bible history more than either of us about.
Yeah, that. I don't. No, I'm thinking about Jesus coming back. I think it's supposed to be for like 2,000 years. But I'm not. It's just a side note. Is like the rapture like a evangelical thing? Because we like Catholics don't have a rapture.
Yeah, we never heard about it, right? Yeah, so we were both raised Catholic people, and we didn't talk about that. Didn't worry about it. Like that wasn't a thing. And pretty much also, you didn't kill somebody, you didn't do anything really bad. You weren't worried about going to hell either. But no, my evangelical relatives, it's like they're always so sure. They're so easy to do something wrong. They have hell houses that they take the kids to show what happens if you disbelieve the Bible or whatever. It's just horrible.
Yeah, those are fucked up on so many levels.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, next week's guest Seth will know more about this because he was raised that way. At least we weren't, right? That's going to be an
Yeah.
interesting conversation to hear. Right? As a young person, he believed that kind of stuff. So besides the religious stuff that you believe if you don't have a critical mindset and you're raised in it, there's so much more, as we know, in the world today. Fear is introduced in everything. There's things like, you're going to be abducted by aliens. I just wrote an article about the latest Netflix. Kitty, another one. Look.
Yeah. Yep. Miss Catnip.
Another.
No, you don't want to be helped right now. Okay, go ahead.
Miniseries about an event which supposedly happened in the 80s. This woman was abducted, not from a dark forest like most of the other stories. She was taken out of her window in a New York City high-rise building. And there were witnesses all over the city that saw this. This is a big thing in the 80s. She was on Oprah and all the shows that were around, telling this story. And now Netflix brought it back like it's a real thing. Anyway. Yeah.
What? Why?
Clicks and money. That's why.
Well, yeah, that's right. They like money. So
when I was a teenager, I believed in that. That was one of my big concerns, right? Aliens were here. Aliens were abducting people. I read all the Von Däniken books. They were on Earth before. They're still here. Fire in the Sky came out. I think that's when it was with what's his name, Walton, who was abducted from the forest. And this happens. This happens to people. People are zapped with tractor beams through their walls and out of their windows or something. And I remember one of the reasons, not the only one, but one of the reasons I thought it was a good idea to move from my family's second floor house bedroom with windows all into the open to the unfinished basement was because I'd be safer down there. So I did that. So the other reason was I shared a bunk bed with my brother and I didn't like that. I'd rather be in an unfinished room. But yeah, that was on my mind. Ooh, they won't be able to beam me through the window because there's no windows in the basement. So, those fears are now being resurrected by freaking Netflix. And that's not the only show. You can just look up aliens and you'll find uncountable numbers of documentaries about how we know aliens are here. The government's covering it up. They abduct people. They're amongst us, yada, yada, yada. There's a whole freaking network, Gaia. That this is about this kind of stuff. It's amazing. So, people are afraid of ghosts. People are afraid of walking through the woods and being abducted by an unknown force. Have you heard of Missing 411?
I'm sorry, what?
Have you heard of Missing 411, the conspiracy theory?
No.
Yeah, most people haven't heard of that one.
No, but what is it? Now I'm curious because I love, me, I love a conspiracy theory.
Unlike other ones, which kind of are hard to pin down where they came from, this one is the construction of a single individual, David Paulides. And he's written a series of books, 12-ish, I think, at this point, and made 2 documentaries. This is his living now. So he's got some reason to keep this up. Besides having, followers who would kiss his ring because he has brought this to light. Oh
no.
Yes, this is that people disappear for unknown, mysterious reasons. His first series of books was about this happened in national parks. And then he expanded it to different parts of the country and other countries. And and he does it in the frame of he asks questions. He's not saying it's Bigfoot or aliens or interdimensional people.
I'm just asking questions.
Right. And I was at a meeting in my state of a group that calls themselves Fringe. That's in the name of the group. And there was a whole talk about the subject. And every one of the people in that room was fearful that it was true and that they had to walk to the parking lot because it's a rural area with a friend so they didn't get zapped into the sky before they got to their car to drive home after this talk.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Yeah. There was a break and a woman was talking to me about, oh, yeah, I think my neighbor's son was part of this and he disappeared for a while. I mean, what do you mean a while? Well, then they found him. Well, then how is he a part of this? Well, apparently it's not even that you have to be a permanent disappearance. If you've disappeared for any length of time.
You can disappear and come back.
Yeah. So this person was like, a prisoner of war or something like that. And then they found them, and yeah, has something to do with this. The guy who was running
Or he's just a prisoner of war.
the guy who was running the meeting was such a fan of this series that he had done his own investigation and looked at names of people who had disappeared through the United States that weren't documented yet in Paulides' books. And he was reading the places where they disappeared from out loud. It was like, 666, Country Lane, Devil's Pond in Illinois, read something or other, and he was clearly putting this together. Oh my God, this is satanic, because he was just cherry picking.
It is.
Of all the people that have disappeared. It was, but anyway, the point is, the people in this room were afraid. They believe in alien abductions. They believe in this conspiracy theory. They believe the government is spreading chemtrails in the air to poison them. No, this was the last time I went was before the pandemic. No doubt they believe Bill Gates is putting some kind of chips in the vaccines. It's sad.
That's really sad.
So
hi, Scott. Sorry, my friends are showing up. Hi, honey. So that, so do you think that this is kind of like, whenever I hear this type of stuff, it's a leftover from religion? Because religion is a very fear-based thing, and
I think,
you see people when they shift away from religion, but if they don't,
well, I think it predisposes you.
Authority.
I think it predisposes you to be gullible for claims without evidence. That's for sure. But I just think generally that's the human condition, whether or not you're religious. And a lot of people, as you know, leave a mainstream religion and believe in some kind of other stuff that's not true, right, Helen?
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked about?
Right? I know. It's not like I ever did that.
Right on here, I don't know.
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I've always been of sound mind all the time.
This
a quick shout out. Scott's wife did my new thumbnail stuff. So shout out to Scott's wife. She's the awesome. Anyway, so Mrs. Dickey did my stuff. It's awesome. Anywho, so, but I just find it like this sort of idea that I think people want to feel like they have secret knowledge or some kind of specialness.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you're going on.
You're special because you know the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's weird to me. Because there's a lot of really cool stuff in the world that's real that you don't need to attach yourself to, Bigfoot travels through portals, which is one I heard on Joe Rogan. So, yes.
Yeah, and Joe Rogan probably just nodded his head, right? He nodded
his head like a bobblehead, and he was like, "Uh-huh." He was like, "Really?"
That's very sad.
That's my new favorite one. That Bigfoot, that otherworldly entities travel through portals, and then they disappear again. That's why they can't really track Bigfoot. It's very convenient.
That's why they don't find any dead bodies, because they take their dead back through the portals, no doubt.
Right. And then they have feasts with the other Bigfoots.
So I just saw a video pop up on YouTube. Not YouTube, maybe it was Facebook. I don't know. One of the streaming services or something. One of the social medias I don't want. And it was so new to me that I actually made a post on Facebook about it, because basically it was that there are reptilians living amongst us, and the reptilian agenda is more than a conspiracy. It's part of a supernatural and technological deception designed to manipulate mankind. In this powerful teaching, Dr. Kevin Zadi exposes the connection between reptilians, fallen angels, and the hidden technological advancements that many mistake for supernatural events.
No, I haven't watched it.
Oh,
Well,
and then
but also like at the same time, like I'm gonna have to create a dummy account because I don't want my algorithm to get
yeah,
screwed up because and
here's
have
my
the
problem.
YouTube sending me like you want to watch stuff about ancient aliens and shit. I'm like, no, you don't. I just
I
want to
think this
watch.
is why I'm seeing all this stuff. I think you're right. The algorithm. So now I misconceive that a larger percent of stuff on the internet is this because it's being sent to me. Yes. So I think
Right?
that I poked on the Instagram or TikTok, I forget which, and there was a video claiming that, oh, we can tell you don't have to worry because UFOs are not aliens. There are no aliens. They're from the other part of the world,
Somebody.
past the ice wall. The plane goes on forever past the flat Earth's ice wall, and that's where there are other civilizations. So you're just
Whoa,
flying
whoa,
over.
whoa, whoa! But I thought the ice wall was the end of the world, so we don't fall off the Earth.
That was my preconceived understanding from other
That's what
flat
I thought
earthers.
the ice wall was.
But apparently, there's this now other thought about it. I don't know how many people believe this, but they made a nice video of it with showing the aliens, not aliens, sorry, because they said they're not aliens, they're Earthlings.
Oh, yeah, they're not.
Just of a different species because they, evolved past the ice wall and they're flying over the ice wall. So yeah.
What in the effing? What? I'm okay. Wait.
You see, I used to
So,
believe this.
are the other are the reptilioid people on the other side of the ice wall with hobbits and
unclear to me.
And White Walkers? Like, what's on the other side of the ice wall?
So if you may know this, if you believe in a conspiracy theory, you're more likely to believe in other conspiracy theories.
Right.
And the bigger conspiracy theory that you believe in, the more likely even that you're going to.
It is it's a Venn diagram of conspiracy theories.
Flat earthers have to believe pretty much every single one, I think.
Right.
Although there are some mutual contradictory ones, and yet I think they still believe those more than they believe in the actual spherical Earth.
I had to get up for 1 second. I'm grumpy. My oldest cat is staring at the door and it's looking at me. Are you gonna let me out, Grandma? So I have to go let him out.
Helen, that's what we had. Somebody who came to clean my carpets said that why the cat was staring at the wall because there was a ghost. We did not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We did not hire them back. Yeah. So I had a friend who was really into the JFK assassination not being just a lone gunman. And okay, that's not paranormal. It's not out of the range of reasonableness. But
I can see it being plausible, not believable, but plausible. It's at least related to real world things.
Here's the thing. He went to an anniversary. It might have been the 50th of the assassination in Dallas. And, he's texting me and saying, oh, Rob, yeah, you should, because he knows I don't believe it. You should have been here. You should have, these people are, so are they all given the same story? No. They're all different stories. Some stand up there for half hour saying it was the mafia. Some say it was the US government. Some say it was Cuba. But he's willing to believe all of them, even though they're mutually contradictory. Right. And okay. Now, this is my friend.
What? How can never mind.
He was also very much into the space program. He was a believer in the space program. He wasn't one of these people who we didn't go to the moon. There's nothing in space because the Earth is flat. So I actually was lucky. I thought about this. I said, Grant, while you're in a break, ask these people what they think about the moon landings. And then later he texts me, oh my God, none of them believe we went to the moon.
Right.
So they were crazy. So yeah.
I'm not surprised.
I was not surprised. So the other weird thing about that is if you go to a conference where they discuss the Earth being flat, which they do, occasionally there's also a speaker about the hollow Earth, and he doesn't get booed off the stage. That's okay too. All right, how do you have a spherical hollow Earth discussion amongst people who believe the Earth is a flat plate? But they're okay with that because it also isn't the actual, real story. It's bizarre. It is bizarre.
It is, and that's something I don't. It is funny because, you'll get these people that, will acknowledge the world is a sphere and believe in the space program, and they'll even buy Tylenol, but they don't think vaccines work. It's a very weird sort of separation from facts that and compartmentalizing that I find like hi Carl. So like this is my thing, because like when I was into my woo-woo shit, like I didn't 100% buy it. Like I didn't think Reiki actually healed people. I just like, because I was like, please go to your doctor. like go to the doctor. Like I think that when I would like think like I was doing Reiki, quote unquote, I think I was helping people relax enough that they could actually feel what was going on in their bodies.
Wait, I forgot. You actually did Reiki? You didn't just...
I did. I'm a certified Reiki master. You want to see my diploma? Like, I can teach you how to make symbols over people's bodies and play like Enya music and burn incense.
So do you do this by holding
and tell people to breathe, deep breathing and relax?
Is part of the process holding someone's hand to transfer the energy?
What?
Is part of the process holding somebody's hand to transfer the energy?
No. Why?
Interesting. Oh, all right. So I was at a party, a dinner party, and we're sitting around a table, and the woman across from me, which was a new couple, and she mentioned that she did Reiki, and she said, "Do you mind if I, see about your..." I don't know if she used the word aura or whatever, but and she held my hand, and she held my hand for an uncomfortable period of time for someone you don't know. And I was thinking that she did some kind of faux medical intervention without me knowing it, because like then she talked all about, oh yes, I had a strong energy, but it got better now, or something like that.
You have a strong energy. No, it usually okay. So for example, in the state of Florida, you can practice Reiki, but you can't. But if you are a massage therapist, you cannot claim that Reiki is going to heal. You can't use it as part of your modality for healing if you're doing massage therapy.
Okay.
You can't yeah. Yeah, I know. What you're saying, Reiki, I know, Scott. It's shocking. So, like when I did it, it was very much like not directly laying of hands. Like you'd be like a few inches over like the person's body, and then like if you know anybody that knows chakras, you have 7 of them allegedly.
I've heard different numbers: 12, 7,
6 to 7. Like there's 6, and then there's supposed to be like the spirit chakra, the thing that connects you to the cosmic universe chakra. That's your 7th chakra, because 7 is the magic number, everybody. But typically it's 6. Depends what woo-woo shit you believe in. So how can a Reiki master determine when you went through trauma? That is also not part of the modality, though there is okay, to be fair. Well, it's not really fair, it's bullshit. But like they'll say that you have certain blockages in your chakras based on trauma. Because like, okay, let's say you get a cold. Like, okay, so Rob, let's say you have a cold, okay? Your throat chakra is blocked, okay? And then the Reiki will clear out your throat chakra. And the reason why you have a cold and it's blocked is because there's not a truth that you're speaking. And if you just speak your truth, then it will clear out. This is the convoluted woo-woo.
What if what if I don't have a throat issue? What if it's just my nose is running? Then I'm not sneezing my truth? What?
But it's upper respiratory, so it's all related. Okay. Because you breathe in air, and air is related to, because like your throat chakra is related to like breathing and air and communication and thoughts. Welcome to associations. So I had books on this shit. I gave them all away, but I still have my notes. So If we ever get, I will, like, if we are ever together in person, I will bring all my old stuff and you will have a trip.
Sounds
Because
like we need
you'll be
a
reading it and you're
U-Haul.
like, what the fuck, Helen? And I'll be like, I don't.
You all to pack it all in.
Oh my God, it's wild.
Anyway, all right. So wait, I was on a track to tell you why, and you started with a question, why live better life through skepticism, and I was only
Yes, and then
so
yes,
maybe all right. So maybe it doesn't matter that you believe in I don't know, chemtrails, and you're a little worried about them, or that even that the Earth is flat and everyone in the universe is lying to you. But as we said before, you tend to believe in all other conspiracies. So people like that will also tend to not get vaccinated because the government's out to put chips in you and track you and things like that. And that's the danger of that. Or, and this was a personal friend of mine.
no, no, I keep hitting my wrong button. Sorry, don't mind me.
A friend of mine who was
Why am I
emotionally.
sorry?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm trying. Ignore me.
A friend of mine was emotionally disturbed because her father had died of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she posted all over her social media railing against the medical establishment, not because she thinks they screwed up or anything, because they're holding the truth back that there is a cure for cancer and they don't give it to regular people like a father.
Really?
Yeah, really. And the fringe group I mentioned before, which was talking about
Then why didn't she sue?
missing 411 and whatever, one of the speakers got up, made the same claim. This is a whole nother discussion, but their whole thing was about aliens are here. The U.S. government has secret technology. We have portals that can transport people to Mars. There's a secret space program, and the regular space program is just to deceive people. But the guy got up and started almost crying about his family member. I don't remember his wife or sister, again, dying of cancer, and the government has secret healing alien tech medical devices that they won't share with us because then they'd have to tell us there are aliens here.
I don't know. I you just explained that, and I'm confused. I have so many questions.
Yeah, it's
What?
very disturbing what people have been led to believe, and the harm in their this psychology that can come from it.
Right. Well, because then, like, what if she gets cancer?
Yep. Well,
Is she going to go to like a cancer treatment center and get it treated? Is she going? And what if it is, chemo and radiation, and which is the things that they use to treat it?
Well, real life example, famous person, Steve Jobs died of treatable cancer and did not believe in the medical establishment. He flew off to some third world country and got some sham treatment and died. Yep.
And that's the kind of thing that is, well, also Steve Jobs he was a terrible person, but regardless, terrible. But regardless of that, it's amazing how like brilliant people can believe in bullshit.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm doing what I'm doing, interestingly enough, for several reasons. There's always several reasons for things. One was because of personal friends of mine who were into all this nonsense, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And then I heard a way to help put real information out there so people can get it. But also, and because I went to a conference and had a conversation with Richard Dawkins, of all people. This was in 2017. And we were sitting alone in a room waiting for the thing to start. No one had gathered yet. He was there early, and I was there early. And I knew him. He introduced himself. I know who you are. And he said, "Oh, what do you do?" So I told him what I do. At the time, I was working in aerospace. I was working with people with PhDs and master's degrees in mathematics and engineering and some sciences, who design weapon systems having to do with aerospace things, also spacecraft. And I said, the thing I don't understand, maybe you can tell me what you think. And I told him is that many of these people are young Earth creationists. They believe in Noah's flood, and they also believe in all sorts of paranormal stuff. And he said, yes, that's always fascinated me. The mind is like that. Since you work with these people, why don't you write an article and send it in? And that is the first spark that I ever had to write something. I actually never wrote about that subject, but I did send something in a connected realm in, and that's how I became an author, which is really weird just because he said that. But it is a fact. I work with these people who are brilliant in their own way regarding their specialty, yet they believed either in religious nonsense and or pseudoscience nonsense. And
that's just nuts.
So one person there, so this guy was a member of the team that was rewriting software for our, basically I worked for the Aegis weapon system, which is known as the shield of the fleet of the Navy. It's what defends U.S. Navy vessels as well as our allies' ships from incoming missiles. And in the 5 or 10 years before I started working, they added an anti-ballistic missile capability to it. Occasionally, essentially a mini Star Wars. So if Kim Jong-il sent a ballistic missile towards Los Angeles, this ship could knock it out of the air, right?
Right.
And this has now been deployed all over the world as our first line of defense for that sort of a thing. We started to have a problem with this is the way it was proposed and classified program. I was not on it. I only know the person who was working on it who told me things. But basically, he was on the program, which was assigned to rewrite the software that flew the missile so it would go into space, because they didn't normally do that, to knock out a satellite, because our satellite supposedly, this is supposedly, and I don't know otherwise, was leaking a poisonous fuel, and it was about to crash into Earth in a place we couldn't control. So they decided they would destroy it in space. Coincidentally, China purposely did this, proved they had this capability like a year before to shoot one of their own missiles out of orbit. So I suspect whether or not that was actually a real reason. But anyway, my friend was on this team, writing the software, changing the software to do this. So a smart guy, right?
Right.
He believes in everything, I would say, except flat Earth. Every single paranormal conspiracy you can think of. He believes he can project his mind when he's asleep to any place on the world. He used to, with his brother, have maps sent to him, and they would swing a pendulum over and tell people where to drill. So it was like remote dowsing of some sort. He believes in psychics and mediums, that there are giant crystal skulls, being found on the Earth. They were but he's not even religious. This is what's weird to me. He was not even a religious person. Never argued for religion for me. Definitely believed in reincarnation, because all the reports of people being reincarnated. So here's this. Does he
believe in the soul?
I guess you have to in some regards if you
believe in reincarnation, right?
That you can get out of your body to see things. Remote viewing is what they call it. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, your consciousness is separate from the body, but it's part of the body. Yes. Something.
But here's the thing and almost every week we would have some polite discussion. Rob, you didn't know about this. Also UFOs and the latest UFO report, or one that he found on the internet that's even 10 years old. I'll bet you haven't heard about this one. This proves aliens are here. And I would always go and do a little research and easily find the refutation and send it to him. Never would he look at it. He didn't really want to know. One day we got into a more heated argument than normal, and I don't even remember what the topic was. And this was one of our last discussions of this nature at all, because he said, Rob, if you take these beliefs away from me, I have nothing to live for.
Wow, that's sad.
It's sad and
was
scary.
He married? Did he have was he married, have children?
No. Guy lived.
Oh, that's sad.
And kind of a downer of a person generally, not the most upbeat party guy. And I would, I don't know. I was always concerned if anyone, I wouldn't say it, but if you ever hear, you would never thought he would have done that to himself, this would be somebody I would have thought might. But so it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, if conspiracy theories are the only thing that's keeping you going,
right.
And that's a concern.
Never had another argument about it. Just okay, whatever you want to believe, keep going on with it. But so
I think that. We always try to say whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
But also a lot. Well, then this is all fear-based stuff, though, because if you're thinking constantly like everything's a conspiracy, everything's out to get you, the government, aliens,
we lost touch when I
ghosts,
retired from
whatever. Like you're living in a constant fear state.
Yeah. I'm connecting it with what I lost touch. I don't know what happened to him after 2020 when I retired. I think he's still working. He's younger than I was by quite a bit. But, I don't know what he did with the pandemic. He might have never gotten the vaccine and also wasn't in the greatest health. For all I know, he's dead because of these beliefs.
Right.
I don't know. I hope not, of course. It's a very scary situation when you just believe anything like that. And he became the poster boy in my mind for Fox Mulder's poster, I Want to Believe.
Yeah.
And this is true whether you want to believe in psychics and mediums or God having your back. It's people want to believe. And I think that's the majority of the human race, frankly, to more or lesser degree. But this is why people believe these things, including religion. I was giving a talk at a skeptical place about Wikipedia of all things, nothing to do with religion. And it was the first time I was ever talking in driving distance of where I live. And so I invited some friends that we go dancing with. And they said, yeah, you will come. And then I said, ooh, they're fairly religious Christians. And this meeting is in a humanist club. And I didn't want them to be shocked by anything that got said there. So I felt I owed it to them to tell them that before they came.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not going to be talking about God or spirits or atheism, but this is a club that are atheists. They call themselves humanists. And my friend said, they're not going to tell me anything that might make me doubt my beliefs, are they? I mean,
I don't know. Right. Well, and that's the thing, like the motivated reasoning to not hear new information, which is kind of terrifying.
Yep.
We talked a little bit this about, when we were doing your check, is that like this, like I don't want to be exposed to anything that will make me question my beliefs.
Yep.
And people purposely ignore new information, which is terrifying in a way, because like I want to know new information, like I want to be updated on new research, new science. So, I'm not making, bad decisions. I'm not 100% good at it, but I try to listen to people that are like smarter in their fields than I am, because I don't know shit. But it's one of those things that like, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you listen to like a virologist about vaccines? I literally, so like, a month, I think it's like a month ago. Yeah, I just went like a month ago to go get my, my boosters for the flu and for the COVID. And my coworker, she's nice. But she was like, I don't want to get more poison in my body. And I was like, but but the thing is, though, she's had the vaccine before. She had the COVID vaccine, but for some reason, I know it makes no sense.
So today, for people watching,
like, I don't know why, like getting the vaccine at the beginning was okay, but now it's poison, and I don't understand the connection. I don't understand.
I've heard bad things about it now for 4 years or 5 years or whatever it is. Yeah, I was very dejected. Not only that RFK Jr. was put in the position today of running our whole healthcare system, but I went on one post where this was announced on someone's YouTube channel, and almost every comment there are quite a lot of them. I want to say there's like 100 comments. I read through 10 or 20 before I got disgusted, were, yeah, he should be, because, it was all pro him. It's like, the health industry is trying to kill Americans and vaccines are dangerous. And
well, duh.
it was just horrific reading the comments. I
just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Connected with this, Melanie Teresa King was our guest on Recovering from Religion show just the other day. What day is today? Monday. She was on Monday, and part of her talk was why people fall for bad information, right? And she did talk about the subject the reason I've heard before is people want to stay in the bubble they're in because that's where their friends are. That's where they feel good. Never feels good to people oh, I was wrong, very wrong, so wrong I have to admit it to all my friends who still believe that, and now I'm going to have to argue with them. And rather than do that, they would just rather not look at anything that would change their mind. I mean, even if it's not, I can almost understand it more with like my friend regarding what she said, because she was concerned about, she doesn't want to not believe in heaven anymore because she thinks she's going to go to heaven. Right? She doesn't want anything in her mind that might, but I don't understand this thing about, vaccines, safety or not, flat earth, but it is the same thing. People do not want to reevaluate their thought processes that put them into this bubble of social media and personal friends that believe the same thing, because they know it will not feel good to be on the outs. Right. Have you seen the documentary Behind the Curve about flat Earth movement?
Yes, I did. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was super, because like I love flat Earth stuff because it's just so fucking bizarre to ignore something that is so fucking obvious.
So people who haven't seen it, yes. So that's the two highly recommended by Helen and me. It's a view into why people believe this. And
it is.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I watched it, but it was really, really interesting.
It followed Michael, is that his name? Michael Sargent and Patricia Steele, two of the big leaders, if you're a thing, of the movement. And, it was kind of very informative. But one of the things that it drove home to me was how much like a religion it is. Now, and I actually it's been so long, I don't remember if it was that documentary or an auxiliary one I watched, because a lot of people make YouTube videos about this subject. But there was a story where it was interviewing a parent, a father, who had kicked the son out of the house because he and his wife had raised the kids to be flat earthers, and the son went to college and decided, no, the earth is a sphere, and he couldn't have him living at home anymore. Yeah.
That's insane. Like, I don't like, I thought it was really funny when they were like walking around the Space Center and basically trying and like kind of laughing at all the stuff that was there, which I'm like, oh my God, I want to go there. Like, as someone that loves space stuff. But and this whole sort of conception that like you have to buy into something so much that you would reject like friends and family. Which is kind of amazing. Well, it's kind of like people that, are Trumpers and have alienated themselves from their family and friends because they're just impossible to be around.
Yeah. And Seth Andrews just did a talk about that. He had a long-term friend can't be with anymore. Yeah, it's a hard thing, but like something so ridiculous about the shape of the earth, can do that to people. It's amazing.
Right. Well, and I think also too, because when they get into these bubbles, it's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And I think that like, hey, John, like it's one of these things that when they get into these echo chambers, they're so motivated to stay in the echo chamber, stay with the people that are like, oh no, we're right. All the globe heads are wrong. It's all conspiracy. NASA's fucking with us.
Yeah.
It's all CGI generated, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Have you followed what happened just in the last month with the final?
Where they went to Antarctica? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And they were like, there is a 24-hour set. It's like, yeah.
For people who don't know, I maybe Helen knows the details more than I do. I only know what I saw on Simon Dan's channel. He talks about flat earthers a lot. And so my understanding is somebody in the science community paid to have some group subset of flat earthers who are popular YouTubers on that subject go down to Antarctica on, the day with the longest period of the sun being up in the sky, which is the whole day, and it would traverse the sky in one day and never go below the horizon. And because in their models, they say that's impossible. So flew them down there. They went there, and then they recorded it, streamed it live. And yes, the sun, wow, stays above the horizon for 24 hours. Well, the flat earthers who didn't go are now, those are their enemies, because they have been paid to shill for globe earthers, or they're faking their own videos. They're looking in their videos to finding little anomalies.
There was one that went, and he made a video basically saying, like, kind of admitting that he was not 100%, like saying that I was wrong, but you need to be open to new ideas. I was like, okay, that's mature.
Yeah. And he's probably,
I think it's very mature. And he said that, like, I don't know how to describe this.
Yeah.
But
to reevaluate.
But he admitted that he was like, the models that we have are wrong. And I think he was, because, like, you can't deny things with your, like, when it's like, this is the model we had. Oh, wait. Fuck. What do we do now? And then there's some that went, and now they're trying to come up with new models to make it work. Which I don't know how you do that. It might be the thing that the sun is a projection. That's another thing I've heard, that because we're in a dome, everybody, by the way. That's another. We're in the dome, and then the sun and the moon are projections. They go over the planet, over the dome, one way or the other.
That's when I heard.
So it's kind of amazing. But this is the thing that I understand, because then if we're flat, okay, and we're in a dome, the sun is still going to be like shining on the. I don't understand how it works. I don't know. Like that. Like it's stupid. That's why I guess I will have to check my horoscope. Like, I don't understand how this works, because, like, it's so convoluted. But I told you about the guy that said that I've been indoctrinated into the college system.
Helen, they all don't agree on what the model is. They just know that.
Oh no, because there's not consistency.
Right.
You can't have consistency in flat Earth, because it's all a bunch of gobbledygook.
So I actually overheard a conversation which got me angry enough that I wrote about it in an article. I started with it, and I think it was in the one about people believing in nonsense. And it was all about, the conversation started about a random thing, but then it went to, but how do we know anything is real? Like, no one has ever seen a satellite. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, I designed satellites. I worked on them, on blueprints, as well as in the bay doing tests. I touched them with my own hands. I screwed in some of the bolts.
Well, you're just shelling from the big space government, Rob. Exactly. Why did you go to school and become an engineer if you're just going to shell for everybody?
Exactly. And by the way, my sister worked there, and my wife's two cousins and her uncle. And I'm telling you this all in the same place because somebody in this UFO community, believer community, read my article where I told this story, and they said, "Oh, I'm sure he designed spacecraft, like anybody does that." It's like what? You wouldn't have, if I was telling.
Well, yeah, people have. There's hundreds and hundreds of people around the world that
conservatively hundreds of thousands.
Okay, so what are with these people with other? Because, like, I get, like, NASA is just awful, but what about, like, Russia and China and Japan and all these other countries that have their own space programs? Are they part of the conspiracy too?
I would guess there are more engineers working on some space program, either in this country, SpaceX, Boeing, all the other companies, or in other countries, the Soviet Union, China, France. Then there are actually brain surgeons, right? And yet, if I had said my former career was as a surgeon, I was a brain surgeon, I don't think they would have said, "Oh, I'm sure he was a brain surgeon. People do that," But no, because this was connected with his belief in the alien conspiracy. I had to be lying because nobody could possibly be somebody who designed spacecraft. It was a bizarre thought that he just put out there like it was a normal thing to say on a YouTube podcast. By the way, this was a podcast this is Rob Heatherly. I'm going to throw a name out there. He's somebody who's famous in the UFO community. He was having a podcast where they were disparaging me by name for that article and other things. And his guests, he had 3 guests on, I think. they were all UFO experiencers, or maybe just they call themselves experiencers. Do you know what that means, Helen?
No. Do I want to?
I wonder if anybody in the chat knows what that means. But
yeah, does anybody know what an experiencer is other than having experiences?
So there was a really fantastic TV series, which I think only lasted 2 seasons, called People of Earth, which had the premise most of the characters were experiencers. So the main character was a reporter from New York City driving his car through this rural town in, I think, upstate New York. And he has a car accident and he's stuck in the town because they can't fix his car in one day. It's so bad. And he's looking for something to do. And he reads the local paper and he sees, this is a meeting of experiencers. Oh, this should be interesting. So he attends it. So this is the first time I learned that that is the new word for alien abductees. Because when you're an abductee, you're a victim. But if you say you're an experiencer, it's more on you. That makes sense?
Sure.
So yeah, so in that show, which is hysterical, by the way, highly recommend it. It's kind of like The Office meets The X-Files. Yeah, so it turns out he didn't have the reporter did not have a car accident, and the memory comes back to him slowly as the episodes go on, and he was beamed up to an alien ship and he was abducted and experimented on. And then because they have to give a practical reason why he was missing time and they take a deer-shaped ram and smash it into the front of his car while it's in the spaceship. And the aliens are arguing about how many times to do it because it's like they all.
That's awesome. That sounds great. I mean, like,
my
favorite alien abduction movie is Fire in the Sky because it's a good horror movie. Like, it's super fun. About the guys in the woods back in the 70s they claimed, and they took lie detector tests and all that shit. It's a great movie though. It's a really, really good movie.
Walton, I think the guy's name is Walton, if I remember right.
Yeah, so it's a great movie. I highly recommend it, based on a true story. But it's just a fun horror. It's a fun horror sci-fi movie. The acting is really good. The guys are all kind of dicks. Like the guys that are all friends and all get kind of abducted are all kind of a little bit of an asshole. Like, they're not good. They're not good guys. But like, I think there's one likable character, and all the rest of them are kind of jerks. But it's a great. It's a good movie. I highly recommend it if you like sci-fi movies. So, because one thing it does depict, if you were really abducted, how terrifying it would be. And I thought the guy that played it did a really good job of how fucking out of the world and terrifying it would be for that experience to happen to you. It's kind of like finding a xenomorph. It would be terrifying. But other than that, like even when I saw it for the first time, like I think I saw it like 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I'm like, this isn't real. Like, I was so like, because I've seen so many like documentaries and sci-fi and like stuff on the Discovery, like, Science Channel and Discovery and Ancient Aliens. I mean, people are like, I got abducted. I'm always like, no, you didn't.
All right, so back to the show, Helen. This is Rob Heatherly with 2 or 3 other people, I think it was, and they all believe they were abducted, all of them, and they're all comparing their stories, and they know it's real, and the government is covering up, and Rob Palmer is part of the disinformation campaign of the U.S. government. So Susan Gerbic, who I mentioned before as the head of the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia, they are convinced to the point where they went in and changed her Wikipedia bio. She's got a Wikipedia bio because she's notable. And they added in the very first line, Susan Gerbic, disinformation agent for the CIA. Of course, it didn't last long because that's vandalism.
I met Susan. Of all the people I could think of, but she's the most unassuming. That's why.
Yeah, well, that's what you would think, right? And what would I tell you if I was a right? But they are so deep into this. But that was just on one place. There were 3 people who believed they've been abducted by aliens, and therefore, of course, aliens are real because it's their personal experience. I don't think they told the stories. They must have been on his show a lot other times, maybe as individual guests, and they were talking about it. This episode was specifically about how the CIA is controlling Wikipedia through the Guerrilla Skeptics in order to hide the truth. Yeah.
What's the truth?
Oh, so I'm actually writing an article right now for AIPT Science about this, and it's called Disclosure.
Okay.
Right? Disclosure means the revelation to the population of the world. The truth.
Oh yeah, we talked. Yeah.
Right.
We talked about that the other day.
That's the secret, and they believe hints are being dropped, and including, by the way, the New Jersey drones are part of that because there's something to do with aliens with them too. This is, and oh my God, all the TikToks and reels on Instagram, all about it's about to happen. It's about to happen. And everyone's got a different reason or different explanation. The Galactic Federation, there's people channeling aliens from the Galactic Federation talking to somebody who talks like he's an alien telling the truth. There's another person claiming he's, part of the US government and they're about to reveal it. I don't know how, what happens 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now when it's still the status quo and nothing happens. It's just more of the conspiracy. They just change their mind. And
because then the government's suppressing it. And again, They're like, well, we were going to release it, but it's like the whole thing with QAnon, and Trump was going to expose the deep state and all the, terrible people in the Liberal Party. And that never happened.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't real.
2 weeks before the inauguration, he slammed Biden and the administration for not coming forth with the truth about the drones, and they know what there are, and they're not telling us. I'm going to tell them on day one. Well, it took about a week. They did release an announcement, which basically, they're drones and planes. Okay, duh.
Well, and I think so. This is the kind of thing that I don't like. I don't think that aliens are visiting us. But if they are, they're just kind of flying by Earth because, why?
Well, it would give them more reason.
It's why would they come here? We have a universe with an abundance of materials that they might need.
Well.
So why come here? Why go across the galaxy when you can just maybe go to a neighboring planet and do the easy?
Helen, do you not know the answer? Did you not see the Jeff Goldblum film from the 70s, I think? Earth Girls Are Easy.
I did see that. It's a very fun movie.
They came to get the Earth
Jeff Goldblum is very pretty in that movie, and so is Gina Davis. It's a great movie.
So they either come for the
It's so stupid. It's such a fun movie.
Or they come for water, right? That's a big one. That's been done in.
Listen, that's. Water can kill them if it's signs.
That too. No, but there's more water on the
There's whole planets with water.
Which they're not going to have to fight anybody to get. It's so stupid.
You can go to Neptune, which is a big ice planet, carve out some ice and melt it, and you have water.
Yeah. So of course, now I still didn't give his name, I think, so I won't now. This is the person I worked with at Lockheed. He was very sure that aliens were here in the past and they had interbred with humans to make slaves so that we could dig for gold for them. And every time he told me something like that, and I never heard, I thought he just made it up. But no, you Google it. That's a thing. That's a conspiracy theory. There's a race and there's a specific place, Zeta Reticuli, maybe, I don't remember. And they were here 50,000 years ago.
Oh my God.
State.
So in the woo-woo circles, there's different, thank you. Well, who's the guy that came up with the alien, Dick?
What?
What's his name? What's that guy that came up with all the alien conspiracy theories?
I don't know if it's just one guy.
Oh, what you're talking about. He wrote a book and it became and aliens are he came up with the whole reptilian thing. Oh, what is his name? Chat, help me. I know fuck, I know his name. As soon as I say it, I'm having to. He's British.
The guy who wrote Communion?
He's British, and a psychic told him that he was going to bring he had a message to relate to the masses about, because I think he used to be like a sports reporter in Britain, and then he went to go see a psychic, I think in the 90s or 90s, and then no, it's not Shriver. It's like Dick something. I can't remember his name. It's really bothering me. And he wrote a book about the reptilians and how they are controlling everything, and that, of course, Eric Von Dicken. Dan, is that it? Is that correct? Is it Eric? Carter thinks it's Eric Von Daniken. I don't know. It's one of those weird dudes. And so he was told by his psychic that he had a message to deliver to the masses, that we had to evolve. And the way that we do that is that we have to get to a higher state of consciousness. But the thing is, though, is the reptilians are putting stuff in our food and our water, chemtrails, everything. And that's why we can't get to this higher state of consciousness, because of that. But, and also,
damn reptilians.
Also, it's also very anti-Semitic. Shocking. I know, because usually a lot of the alien stuff is also awful because it's rooted in that. So I bet if I look it up, it will come up. Okay. I just got to do the thing.
So you mentioned that, aliens. So yeah, I did an interview with 3 researchers who have spent a good part of their careers researching these kind of claims that aliens are here and UFOs and all that kind of stuff. And we talked about it a little bit because of the Jersey drones. But I've actually been giving public talks on the subject of pushing back against the conventional wisdom that there are actually aliens.
Oh, here, okay. Hold on, I got it. It's David Icke.
Yes, I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's special boy. So that was the guy I was thinking of, because he was the first one that was introduced, because his name is very popular in the woo circles.
Well, there are so many of them. Louis Alexandra just released another book, and he's been all over the media, promoting it, and it's all about disclosures about to happen, because, yeah. Anyway, so I've actually been going against the grain of even skeptics and a lot of vocal scientists who often will proclaim that although UFOs are likely not extraterrestrial, except for Misha Kaku, by the way, who seems to believe they are, but throw him out of the picture, they will say, well, no, there's no evidence, there's no good evidence that they are, but because of the trillions of planets in the Milky Way galaxy and just the odds of it, there have to be likely civilizations that we can communicate with. Seth Shostak, who is the main SETI astronomer, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has this running coffee bet with anybody. Just talked about it on a talk he did last weekend again, that, we're going to contact aliens in the next 20 years. So, he really believes this, and a lot of people believe this, and there's a lot of them out there, in other words. And I've been giving a talk that pushes back on that. And I gave it for RFR, as a matter of fact. It was like something like, are we special in the universe? Because like God, our religions say, yeah, we're special. And sometimes you're right for the
I am super special. Don't tell me I'm not.
That's right. Sometimes you're right for the wrong reasons.
I'm a super special snowflake, just like everybody else. So
I've given this talk a bunch of times, including in the New York City Skeptics and for the Bay Area Skeptics. And I'm going on an actual in-person cruise through the Bermuda Triangle this summer, and I'm going to give that talk again.
Okay, if you disappear, we'll know it's real. You tell us.
That is right.
Like when I was younger, I thought that, because I didn't understand really how statistics works, and how I didn't really understand that, so I kind of bought into the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, I remember carrying around a book.
Yeah, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson explained it to me in like 5 minutes why people believe it, and I was like, oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, so I've actually been asked to tweak my general talk on the not likelihood of aliens to make it connected with the Bermuda Triangle. So I looked up, actually, I asked Meta AI, because I haven't thought about the subject in probably 40 years, is the Bermuda Triangle connected with aliens? And yes, that is, a lot of the conspiracies believe there's alien portals there.
No,
there.
all the paths lead to aliens.
Yes. So yeah, I'm gonna modify my thing, basically starting with, there's a thing called Hyman's maxim, or Hyman's categorical imperative. And this is after a scientist named Roy Hyman, who started the skeptic movement along with James Randi and others, which basically is, before you try to explain something, first get the proof that the thing is actually there to explain, right? And that's how I'm going to start the talk, because probably what Neil deGrasse Tyson was telling you, there's nothing unusual, anomalous at all about the number of ships that have disappeared in the supposed triangle. So
yeah, it was basically like, this is like, I think he even went into like where the history of the Bermuda Triangle came from, but that got deleted from my brain. But I know it was part of the talk. I just can't remember what he said, because I just remember like the way he explained the statistics, because I have taken statistics. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I read a follow-up book by the same author who publicized and essentially created the Bermuda Triangle myth, whose name I don't remember now, but he had a follow-up book that's, and there are other ones all around the planet, and I believed that too at the time, right? Because any place there's a populated area where there's a lot of ships and bad weather, you're going to have this happen. So there were 2 or 3 all over the planet, right? And yeah, ooh, wow, look at this, really complicated weather and geography where you can run into ground and a lot of ships going through it, and that's where most of the ships disappear from.
And he also went into like compasses not working. It's not that uncommon of a phenomenon, and it can happen for a variety of reasons, that have nothing to do with anything supernatural. Natural phenomenon can cause your compass not to work. It's like this whole thing. And it was just really interesting, because like, once you, like, if you think about anything, like if you have a skeptical brain and you think about anything for more than 2 minutes,
but this is weird,
and you go, is that true? And then you just think about it a little more. It's like, okay, well, what are other explanations? And this is a thing that I think we always talk about, is that when and I explain to people, like when they talk about, like when I'm talking to like a religious person, and they're like, well, where did the universe come from? And I go, I don't know. And they said, well, it has to be God. I said, well, I'm like, you're kind of or evolution or anything like that. They say, well, it has to be God, or they have experiences they can't explain. I said, well, you're kind of cutting yourself off for more information. This is a thought stopper, and that you're not allowing any new information to come in that might, offer more explanations for things that you don't quite understand. Like I've had plenty of things happen to me that I don't have an explanation for, but I don't contribute. I just go, I don't know. And I go, there's several possibilities, but since I can't test for it, so I have to say I don't know.
Helen, that's an interesting statement. I hear people say that often, and I've never had anything happen to me which I could fall into that category. Am I strange? I hear people saying that all the time.
Well, like I could probably explain it now, like with like a little bit of thinking. And this is the thing is though, like at the time I might have considered it like weird, but then I don't know how strong the memory is either.
Yeah, that's a big part.
His memory's weird.
Well, not your brain.
But I think the emotion felt significant, and I think that the memory is connected with that emotion. But again, memory is not good. So
one of my topics when I give public talks is called Critical Thinking 101. And it always starts with how bad your perception of reality is and how bad your memory is. And people just do not realize either of those things. And one of my slides says something like, the 2 most incorrect statements probably ever made by people, and that get often made, is I know what I saw and I know what I remember. Because no, you don't, and no, you don't. and people just don't want to accept that.
No, it's really interesting. So Neil deGrasse Neil deGrasse Tyson just interviewed Teller from Penn and Teller. It was a really good interview because they're doing neuroscience on magicians and their ability to play with people's perceptions. And the neuroscience, they're looking at people when they observe magic tricks, because we have this thing, like we like to be fooled. And we want to be able to figure it out. But magicians have a way of perceiving how to do the trick very, very well, that you're fooling somebody. Like their neuroscience is different, the way that they perceive things. It was a really fascinating talk. And there's a very awesome neuroscience that's been on his show before. Am I blanking her name? Yes, I am. But it was a really, really interesting talk. I highly recommend you listen to the episode, because it was a really cool episode of Star Talk, just talking about magicians, the perception, and playing with how we take in information. And it was just really cool. I highly recommend it. So sorry, it's side tangent, because you mentioned, I know what I saw. It's like, no, you don't. Like,
yeah, I got to interview Teller for my column, and that was one of the more difficult interviews to edit, I have to tell you. He speaks very quietly. Yeah,
I noticed that when he was talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's very soft spoken, and
like the imbalance of every time I asked him a question, it came across like that, and then he's talking like this. So I went in and I spent hours editing it to boost the volume every time he answered me. But yeah, he was a really interesting guy, much more serious than Penn was. I interviewed him separately in different years. And Penn was dropping F-bombs left and right, and I couldn't imagine Teller doing that.
Well, Penn,
different personality.
I've seen plenty of programming with Penn. I know he's like me. He's got a potty mouth. So.
It's amazing that their partnership has worked for so long. They just seem so different, but that's what makes it work sometimes. I actually went to see the show in Vegas this last October when we went to SciCon. Again, it was really cool. I've seen the show twice.
Fun. Yeah, if I ever go back to Vegas, I would love to go see that show.
A portion of it every time, a big portion. So there was only one trick that was repeated, which was the finale, which actually was, I knew that was going to be repeated. And this time, it's interesting. When you get to see a trick the second time, now you can look for things you didn't know to look for the first time. So
right.
Now I think I know how they do the big thing, which I won't say, but I think anyway, which is making I just find the elephant disappear on stage, surrounded by a bunch of people.
But you told me that I remember you've told the story before where you had talked to Penn and somebody wanted to believe that he actually had magic powers.
Yeah, but I think it was Penn who I asked that, not Teller. I'm pretty sure. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, Penn and Teller often will stand outside their show when it's over and people are streaming out of the auditorium. And if anyone wants to talk to them, they stay there for a long time doing it. Apparently that stopped since the pandemic. Because they didn't do it this time, and someone told me that was the reason. But the first time, that's what happened, and so I saw what he was talking about, and so Penn said, "Yeah, when we do that, quite often, not every single time, but after, it's not unusual after a performance, someone will say, 'How'd you do that trick?' And you have magic powers, right?" I go, "No, it's an illusion. I'm not going to tell you how we did it." "Oh yeah, shh, I know, yeah." And that's what he told me. It's like they have it in their mind that there are people with powers like that, and they don't want to admit it because they'll become lab rats or something. Yeah, even so, from the horse's mouth, so to speak, they will not.
Right, like I'm telling you, it's an illusion. I'm just very good at it.
This is back to the "I want to believe" conversation before. That's just it. It'll somehow destroy their worldview if they are told the opposite. Which, okay, so yeah, I did want to mention something when we were in that tangent before, so now I remembered what it was. So I'm going to disagree with Matt Dillahunty here, who famously says on a lot of shows, and other hosts of the ACA, formerly in the line now, will say, you don't choose what you believe, right? Atheism is not a choice. Religion is not a choice. I will go with that to a certain degree, but not fully, because I believe you can choose what to look at, what you put in your mind that could possibly change your mind. So you're choosing not to
Yes.
look at certain material, which is what would change your mind, and you're not going to look at it. Therefore, your mind's not going to change. And I experience that with a lot of people, as I told you, the person from work and my other friends. And it's like they will shield themselves intentionally. That's a choice from seeing alternate information that could possibly make them change their mind. That's a choice.
Right. And that's the, like, your indoctrination is not a choice,
Right.
you know, but if you know, like, you know, there's a that you hear like Earth is not, and you choose not to look up the religion as an active choice you are making to not find out the real information.
Yep.
Because like my big thing is that, like, well, if something is true, it should be able.
Yeah, your audio is breaking up, at least on my end. Maybe people can put in the chat whether or not that's happening.
It's better.
So
It's better.
Oh yeah, I heard you say that. So yeah, and again, I've experienced this on with people with religious issues. I've experienced this with people with their paranormal beliefs. I've seen this on the flat earthers. I've never actually talked to a flat earther live, but I have seen this with people who were interviewed. It's just clear to me that they will not look at evidence intentionally by choice for something that they think could possibly change their minds. I don't know if the stream cut out or if I'm here alone. Maybe Helen dropped off. So anyway.
What happened? Oh my God. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Is the stream still going?
It's still going. I just pop this out and pop this back in. We're fine.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I think that's an interesting topic that gets, you know, that comment gets repeated over and over and over again. And I don't think they're looking at it as subtly as it should be looked at when they make that statement that you don't choose what to believe.
Yeah, I think they're talking.
I have friends who choose not to watch anything but Fox News, and so they believe what they believe, right? Because of that choice to not. They have been told that the other networks are lying and the whole world is lying, so they choose not to watch that, and therefore they make a decision on that, and therefore their views never change.
So no, it was really interesting. I watched a documentary on Amazon Prime this weekend called "The Brainwashing of My Father," and it was really interesting because it was about this woman that this was like even before Trump, of like people listening to people like Rush Limbaugh and listening to this very Fox News, very vitriolic sort of news broadcast. And so what was interesting is that he started listening to all this like fear-based, vitriolic sort of vision, and he started to change. She said that he used to be very funny and joyful and stuff like that, and then he started, he retired, and he'll read whatever's put in front of him. So, and he started listening to like, all this bullshit, and that changed. But then he went into the hospital and had a procedure. Okay, his wife changed the channel, so he couldn't and he didn't want to learn how she programmed the remotes. So he could only watch like certain TV programs. She unsubscribed him from a bunch of like right-wing news, and subscribed him to like NPR and like other like, actual like Associated Press, stuff like that. And eventually, over time, his original personality came back. He started to be a little bit more critical about the way he thought. He even admitted, he goes, "Oh, I was kind of an asshole before." It was just really, really interesting that he had been like a, moral-minded, kind person, like, vitriolic conspiracy, the rabbit hole, and then just changing a few things brought him back up. It was a very fascinating documentary. I am sorry, I'm choppy. I don't know what's going on because I can't see it on my end. I apologize. So that's telling me I need to wrap up because I don't know why I'm so choppy.
Yeah, mostly your audio is okay, but occasionally that gets choppy too. Yeah, I'm wondering if you
I don't know because
if you killed your video stream, if that would make the audio better. I don't know. So
I don't know. I don't know. Because this doesn't usually happen, so I don't know. I'm sorry. Is it better if I turn my video off? Like, I don't know.
That usually does help the Zoom stream, but since this isn't Zoom, I don't know. We'll see.
No, this is the first time it's happening because I haven't had live before.
Well, so for that,
I'm going to end the show.
For that little second, no video, the audio was okay, but then again, the audio's been occasionally okay and occasionally not great.
I don't know because this doesn't usually happen when I do the stream, so I don't know. I don't find it choppy enough not to understand. Okay, well, that's good. I mean, maybe it'll correct itself. I'm sorry. I have no control or the internet. If my internet's being buggy, I have no control.
It just happens.
It just happens, yeah. Okay, as long as the audio is good all the way through. Okay, that's fine. So people, I'm sorry about the visuals, guys.
I asked you before, and I'm not sure that you answered. Have you ever talked about what I interviewed you about for my column that time about your work at the Spirit Academy, Spirit University?
I have not. I've mentioned my woo-woo past, but I don't talk a lot about it because it was a thing. So for those of you who do not know, at the end of the 2010s, I worked at a place called the Spirit University, which I was a office and project manager for that particular company. Now, just take a moment with the title and think about what you know about me and where I possibly work. And it was actually the place when I realized that psychic phenomena was all bullshit. Because when you see behind the scenes stuff, and you kind of see the man behind the curtain, you're like, oh, this is bullshit too. Because like I was starting that, I was in that. I'm letting go of belief, but I wanted to believe there was some like, I don't know, magic or something in the world, and I came to the conclusion after that experience that it's not. So here we are.
So I just put into the YouTube live stream my interview with you on this subject, so people might be interested in reading that.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was called Selling the Paranormal, A Peek Inside the Spirit University. And yeah, when I found that out, being someone who investigates and tries to help debunk psychics and mediums, and Helen was on the inside, I had to interview her about it.
Yeah, please don't. Oh my God, it is a trip.
And also, it wasn't just a random place.
And you know how to spot the difference between cold reading and hot reading. You know how people emotionally manipulate people. Like you when you see it firsthand, it's like the two bases. You cannot not see it. But the thing is, though, a lot of people go to these people because they have lost loved ones, and they've been through trauma, and they really, really want to connect. And it's heartbreaking a lot of the times. And there's some people that like legitimately believe that they have psychic powers, and then there's other ones that are total fraudsters. So
yeah, that makes sense. So this isn't just like, a random small place. This place had enough pull at the time. I don't know if it's still running.
That's still running.
Okay. I remember looking during the pandemic, and I couldn't find anything going on there. But okay, so they have a list of facilitators. As I took a screenshot and put in my article, they include Eben Alexander and Raymond Moody. And those names, for people unfamiliar with the near-death experience claims, are the people who invented the term NDE, and a doctor, a neurologist, who had his own NDE and then wrote a book about heaven is real. So yeah, these are like two of the big shots in the whole field of pushing the fact that this is real stuff, which I, by the way, hear a lot of from people recovering from religion, right? Well, NDEs must be some evidence of an afterlife. So we actually have, one of the things we have in our resources at RFR is the debate between those two gentlemen and two actual scientists. I shouldn't disparage them. They're scientists. They're just wrong. Two scientists on the other side of it, Stephen Novella and Sean Carroll, who did it for Intelligence Squared Debates, which if people have never watched, their format is fantastic. They have a podcast and a YouTube channel, Intelligence Squared Debates. So there's usually 2 against 2. And they had those two guys, the strongest proclaimers that in near-death experience means as an afterlife on one side, and two scientists on the other side. And in an Intelligence Squares Debates, they have a large audience in-house watching the debate. And before the debate, they poll them with the question and see what the audience feels about it. And then after the debate, they poll them. So that way you can actually tell who won this debate. Of course, that doesn't mean they're right? You could be a great debater or whatever. But the swing, I have watched a lot of these debates on that channel. The swing between, oh, it's probably real, to no, it's all bullshit, was amazing. It's like, so the two best proponents for this lost that debate handily to the scientists talking about there's no real evidence for this. I often point people towards that who believe in the near-death experience concept, and that's what's hanging them on to religion.
Like my best friend, he had a near-death experience, and he said, "I saw nothing." He first thought he was in purgatory. Right. He's like, it's the Christians, right? This is purgatory. And then he realizes, like, now there's just nothing. Brentley, the punk apostate, he said his dad had one, and his parents were very fundy religious, and he said his dad was in the circus town. So it's when he had one. So he's like, you would think the person that was super religious would have the seeing Jesus in the light, and nope, he was in this weird circus town. So it's very subjective.
It's just more evidence that the actual God of our universe is a prankster, and he likes to play.
Exactly. Yes. I do, because there's similar experiences people have on psychedelics, that when they have NDEs, that they become more empathetic, and they may kick an addiction. They find more meaning in their life coming so close to death. But this also happens if you take MDMA. So, because I did a whole study on it for college.
Without even an NDE, people have a near miss that's obvious for their life, and they sometimes examine how they're living.
Yeah. So I think that's great if it helps you become a more empathetic person and realize that your time is finite and you want to do the best that you can while you're here. I think that's a good thing, but don't contribute to God, or that you saw heaven or Vishnu, or you went to a crazy circus town. That's the afterlife. It's just your brain's doing brain stuff. And I think that's hard. It's the motivated reasoning for conspiracy theories. It's I got to see something special. I know something special. I'm special, guys.
People who have past life regressions, which is also bullshit, are always
I did that. I've done that.
Or Cleopatra or Napoleon. Or
it's very big in the woo stuff.
You had that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I conducted people doing past life regression. Am I proud of that? No, but I was a high priestess in the pagan religion for 10 years. You bet your ass I was.
How many Cleopatras were there?
None.
It always seems, whenever you hear the stories of these, somebody was a famous person or a nobleman or whatever. They're never the washer person who, broke their back and died at 20 because their life was so hard. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but people like were around for significant events in history.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
they were never nothing ever like mundane.
Right. And by the way,
Like
if there is,
living as a peasant in like 1824,
I
like
have a
on a farm.
I have a friend who, if he ever was reincarnated and his past life came, well, that's bullshit. He was in the World Trade Center when it was hit, and he was at Tiananmen Square when that thing happened. For
Oh,
real.
okay.
Now, I'm not talking about reincarnation. He's alive now. He was alive then. This is a real life events. He was in both of those
Okay.
historic places. Yeah. So, yep.
It's a trip. Like, and this is the thing about like, I'm not proud of this stuff that I did. I laugh about it and I'm glad I didn't cause anyone some real trauma. Very glad of that. Because I was careful. I had enough wherewithal to like be careful about what I did. Like I wasn't trying to, like, I never asked for money. Um, I wasn't trying to scam people. I really thought on a certain level I was helping, but also at the same time, I always had this thing like, I'm not quite sure if this is 100% real. I had to, like a little part of me was just like, Mimi, I gotta be careful. I don't want to fuck people up. It's a very, it's like I was like a skeptic psychic.
Well, yeah.
Until I really have
As I recall, you told it was part of what got you out of those beliefs being there.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Because it was just
Yeah.
because like once you start to break things like especially after like start understanding like psychology and like why people have perceptions that they do, I'm like, oh wait, hold on. And then but I'm like maybe the psychic stuff's real, like maybe. And then that was the last peg to fall. I was like, nope, all of it's bullshit. Everything, it's all junk. Which I'm glad for. Because that, but also too because I have insight into that world.
Right.
I'm also a very good person to talk to about it because, like, I'm always like, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about that because I know I did it.
But you must come across people who say, but my psychic is real.
Yes. And I say, okay. And I go, why do you think that? And it's usually because they did like a hot reading.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing. I've told this on podcast before. I'm going to tell it again because it's so interesting. I have a friend who went to John Edward reading in a public place, one of these big auditoriums, and he points at people and says, I somewhere in this area, someone's got this name and is a deceased relative and or whatever. And anyway, she tells me that she did not sign up for the thing. She went with a friend. There's nobody could have done a hot reading on her, but he knew the name of her ex-husband. Now, first off, John Edward normally does mediumship and dead people, and her husband wasn't dead, so that's weird. Okay, but
Victoria really wanted John. It really, really wanted him.
What? You're talking about the stream?
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll keep going.
So, she said, well, how could, I was about to go give a talk on how psychics are bullshit and dangerous. And I told her that they're not all bullshit. John Edward is. I didn't want to tell. Do you know that South Park has an episode, all about John Edward being the worst person in the universe? He's got an awful reputation about people who don't believe in this kind of stuff for a reason. But anyway, she believed it because her ex-husband's name came out of his mouth somehow. And I said, well, could it have been this and could it have been this? And she, no, you don't understand. He just said his name. Okay, she doesn't have a recording of it. As we talked about before, memory is fragile. I don't know if she remembers. She didn't want to hear that because I know what I remember, right? So it was one of these weird coincidences in life. I think it was the very next day I listened to a podcast from Ross Blotcher and Carrie Poppy called Oh No, Ross and Carrie. I listened to one of their latest episodes where they went to see a psychic medium. And if people who don't know, Ross did 2 episodes for us on recovering from religion.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. One was his investigation of Scientology, infiltration of Scientology, and the next one was his the Ark encounter, right? His trip through the Ark. So both of those are worthy to look up on RFRX, by the way. So Ross is the co-host of the Oh No, Ross and Carrie podcast, and their theme is they investigate things so you don't have to, and they go to alt med or paranormal clients, things like that, right? So they went to the psychic medium. And normally the format of the show is Ross and Carrie will tell what they did, and they'll talk about it with each other and to the audience. So in the one instance, which was pertinent to this conversation I had with my friend about, her psychic John Edward being real, because how could he have said that? And her memory is perfect, right? And by the way, I don't know how this could have been like 20 years earlier. So it wasn't even like it was a recent thing. I don't remember how long ago, but it wasn't a current thing that just happened. So this was a current thing that just happened. Ross and Carrie are talking about it on the podcast, and they have notebooks. They take notes while they're doing these things. And Ross is reading, and he goes, the psychic, I don't remember her name, came over and said, and I see someone over here, and he's kind of pointing in my direction with grandmother of Susan. And wow, and he says on the podcast, I was surprised she got that right. And Carrie opens her notes and said, Ross, that's not what she said. She said, it's Susan or Sarah or Sam, or and named like 4 names. And he did not remember that's the way it went down.
Right.
So these are 2 people who go in and do this for a living, essentially. Well, it's a hobby, but, and they're used to looking at these things critically. And he didn't even catch that. He was wrong, according to Poppy. Right. So, like, what's the chances that my friend was right, that he just blurted out that name and didn't say it was Brad or Bill or Bob, or, no chance. Like, it's much more likely that she's remembering incorrectly, even that he hit it randomly correctly. Never mind that it's some psychic power and he was reading her mind. But she was not convincible. I sent her an audio clip of that. I said, oh, by the way, we were just talking about this yesterday. This is my friend Ross. Listen to what happened. She never responded to it. Again, it's one of these things. She probably didn't want to think about it being wrong because she wanted to believe it. She likes to believe in psychic powers. So
I did put the episode when Ross and her infiltrated Scientology. Cool. So I did post that episode.
Yeah, that was an amazing.
Which is also a really good episode, by the way. Very good episode. So, but like, yeah, like I fell for that stuff, because people, they hear the things they want to hear, especially when you go to a psychic, and they'll delete all the rest, because this is not thinking slow. You're emotionally motivated to believe the psychic because you want to hear that your dad is okay in the afterlife, that he's thinking about you. Right. But like, everybody says, it's like, why aren't you telling me where the gold of this buried, Dad?
Right. Tell you where the paper buried. No, he's going to tell you he likes your hat. He likes your hair.
Right. He's like, yeah. And also too, like, there's a lot you can infer a lot by where, like, this is the thing that I realized I was doing, that you can infer a lot about a person based on their color, what they wear, where they're from, what income bracket that they're in. You can infer a lot of that just by careful observation of just like seeing people on a regular basis, and making inferences.
You're talking about cold reading. Interestingly, people who investigate this and have done it say that's rarely even necessary. That it's the first thing you said.
No, you can do the subconscious.
Yeah, people so much want to say whatever, to read into whatever the psychic tells them is real and true. They will give them a mile even if they don't deserve it, and that's how they really do their work.
Because as soon as you say, did your dad, have, like you said, I feel like there's something in their chest. It's like, oh, my dad died of a heart attack. Yeah. You just gave them the information. Like,
they had some medical condition that was in somewhere of the core of their body,
over the chest area, like, and then like emphysema.
Yeah, heart or lungs. That's probably
COVID, heart attack. But they'll say that because they know the person is going to most people when they're old have something going on with their lung and heart. And usually people will, or stroke, and they'll just offer it up.
Died from either something in their chest cavity or in their head. One of those two. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they didn't die from something on their foot. It's like,
right.
But
imagine if somebody like died from a stub toe, which has happened in history, by the way, and they're like, no, he stubbed his toe and got gangrene and died and went septic.
yeah. Most people, I have heard, I'll say this with a skeptical, I don't know if it's true, but it sounds reasonable, so maybe I want to believe it. More people died in like the Civil War era of like marching without proper boots and just getting a cut.
And people died of trench foot too.
Yeah. So but these
days,
makes
sense. Like if you think about that, like it's like trench foot. People die of trench foot and war and stuff like that.
But yeah, these days of saying it's in the chest or the head is probably a 90%.
It's probably true, but like, or like he died in a car accident, it's like, because like you can be 75 years old and die in a car accident, but people don't usually say that because they'll infer if they have a middle-aged person like sitting in front of them, they'll infer that their parents must have been in like their 80s or 90s when they died, died or whatever. So they don't infer that maybe they were 6 years old when their parent died and they were in their 30s.
I want to mention that Susan Gerbic, the aforementioned leader of the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia, also does psychic busting of famous psychics, and her channel is Psychics Explained. She spends an inordinate amount of time that would drive me crazy watching, videos that these people put online of readings of people and dissects it and tell you how they're doing it and also why the people fall for it. So that's something you can look at. But getting back to the topic where I was starting to talk about, better living through skepticism, people who fall for this kind of stuff, now I'm talking specifically of psychics, belief in psychics, belief in mediums. Like, what's the harm, right? I've actually heard psychologists, people go in and they feel better because they're, they hear the grandma's looking out for them and the grandma's in heaven. And the other side of that is something that I've written about and talked about and investigated a lot, is people who have those beliefs fall for con artists who take them for their life savings or a lot of money, which still ruins them financially and sometimes makes them suicide. The majority of these people, they're just out to make a quick buck and $100 for a reading, and they hope you come back. Some of these people will prey on you to the degree they will destroy you. And if you believe it enough, you will let them do that. So there's a Wikipedia article which is about the one detective who tries to get people who have been victimized by these con artists some justice. His name is Bob Nygaard, Nigaard. Wikipedia article. I would look at that. It's got a lot of the reports of some of the most notable cases he was on. People lost millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. When I published about this, I got people writing me. I've lost my life savings, $42,000 to a psychic. I don't know what to do. It was heart-wrenching. And I would refer them to Nygaard. His special situation why he does this. No one else does this. And he tells me he gets 4 or 5 people a day contacting him. And he's just one person. He doesn't have an agency. Mostly it's shit's luck. And the legal system is not your friend in this case. It's like, did they put a gun to your head when you gave them all your money? No. Well, victimless crime. It's not our fault. I'm not going to do anything about this. And if you can get them to go past that point and file a police report, now you have to get a prosecutor to, in their busy schedule of people being shot in the street or whatever, to go after somebody who lost $42,000, because they gave money to a psychic. And then if you get to the point where they do take that case, now you got to convince a jury that it's worthy of a guilty verdict. And most of the time what happens, according to Bob Nygaard, is they make a deal. Give the person the money back, we'll let you go. And what do you think they're going to do when they let them go?
They're going to go back and try to make the money back.
Well, they're just going to continue to do
that's
what
they do. That's what I would do.
Right. So,
if I was an asshole.
Despite the fact that many, many cities and jurisdictions have laws against people reading fortunes and whatever, Doesn't matter, because you're not going to get any help from the legal system when you go into a corner store and someone does that to you. So it may seem like fun and games, but if you believe it enough, some of these people can take you for everything. So don't believe it, because it's not worth believing, because it's not right anyway. My cat's screaming. Give me a sec.
I know. Okay. Peggy Sue's got opinions. She does not like psychics. Peggy Sue is Rob's cat. She's a sweet potato, but she's very opinionated. And also on the topic of like psychics, a big thing too is these type of like my thing is the harm they're doing to the person, not just financially, but like if I have a problem with people not being able to accept death for what it is. Yeah. This motivated thing where like, no, I can connect you with your grandma. I can connect you with your son. I can connect, it's like,
I can tell you the worst story, and it regards religion. Okay. And I don't remember if this was Bob's case or someone else he just knew about, the case that he couldn't take or didn't take. But so a woman had lost a baby, and through
just pick her up. She wants to be part of this. She wants to be part of it.
What are you telling me? So yeah, so
a sweet potato.
A woman had a failed pregnancy, and she went to a psychic to find out if her new pregnancy was going to be successful, and she was really distraught, right?
Oh.
And the psychic, this one's going to be okay, as long as you give me, a lot of money, over many sessions to remove this bad aura from you, because this is why you had, the failed pregnancy. And then this happened for a very long time, and $100,000 worth or whatever, maybe more than that over time, until the baby was born. And now you think that would be the end of it? No, because like probably in the last session, well, oh, thank you, you saved me, my baby's good. Well, I didn't want to tell you this, but in the last session, I got in touch with the soul of the baby you lost, and it's in some kind of a horrible situation in purgatory. And I can help it, free it from that situation.
That's so fucked up.
But there's these special things I have to go to Africa to learn, these special rituals, and it's going to cost a lot of money and time. And she gave her more and more and more money to free her dead baby soul. Yeah. So this is what can happen when you believe in John Edward or Tyler Henry or Teresa Caputo, that they have powers. You can believe that a person like that's got powers, and this is how you get taken away.
I told you this. I had somebody when I was at the psychic university, and I found out that Teresa Caputo, this is towards the end, was a total bullshit artist. And I had explained to the woman, I said, no, she doesn't have psychic powers. And she's like, well, it seems so serious. I'm like, listen, I go, that's a TV show. It is heavily edited. You don't know those people are actually actors. You don't know all the misses that she got before she got the correct shit. I go, you don't know. I go, they're looking to make money. They're looking to give a presentation. Take it for what it is. And I go, and it's bullshit. And she's a bullshit artist. Every single psychic that does these shows are bullshit artists, and they want to believe because like it seems sincere. But I'm like,
yeah.
And they're like, well, why would they? I think they think people like lie, and it's like difficult for them. I'm like, I can lie. I'm like, Rob, I just want to let you know that your grandma loves you very much, and she's speaking to me right now, and she wants me to tell you that
you're a bad psychic. My grandmother didn't remember my name from my other 18.
Right, but like if I say this is sincerely enough, like I just lied. They don't want to believe that anyone would do this to them. And I'm like, people manipulate people for all types of reasons.
No, yeah. So Susan goes through this. She's called the horrible. She loves cats. The horrible cat lady, and she's evil, trying to tell people these people are manipulators. And Susan's the one who's manipulating people to try to not make them believe in these good people who are helping people. It's horrible. You cannot convince somebody who's been to one of the. I won't say cannot. It's very hard to convince somebody that they've been taken, and that's a famous quote by somebody, maybe Mark Twain. It's easier to fool somebody than to convince them that they have been fooled, and that's just true, because you don't want to believe that you were taken It's horrible. Yeah. So one of the the telling things about, as you were talking about, it's all for money and clicks and people don't care, is there is Peggy, so there come on, stop.
She's a very needy kitty.
Oh, there is a psychic medium who is very famous. I don't know if I want to use his name because he could be litigious, but he's known as the Seatbelt Psychic because that was the name of the TV show they put him on. And before he had the show, he had a show. He was touring, in random cities or whatever. And Susan Garbick, again, mentioning Susan. Hello, Susan, if you're ever watching this. And her
Hi, Susan. You need to come on.
Deceased partner, Mark Edward, who used to be part of he actually wrote a book, Psychic Blues, The Confessions of a Conflicted Medium by Mark Edward, because he was like one of the most successful performers in the Psychic Friends Network, who would, you called him.
He had a musical on Off-Broadway.
No, that's not him.
Are you sure?
No, not him. Mark
okay, never mind. All right.
So
I got excited about it.
He was a magician,
no.
Magician until his death, a mentalist till his death last year. And so he and Susan went undercover to an event by this person with fake Facebook profiles having been created by Susan's team. So they went in with false names and false histories of false people in their family that had died. And the psychic stands up on the stage and reads them, and he's reading everything from their Facebook pages, which are just all made up. That your brother died of pancreatic cancer, his name was Johnny, and your father, and they're crying because they're playing along with this, but it's all just bullshit. Yeah. So this got written up in the New York Times. So he was thrown out like in the New York Times magazine. 10 million people read the damn thing or whatever. Didn't matter. Got a TV show, Seatbelt Psychic. Got another show on a different cable network a year later.
Money, Rob.
Came the house show at Caesar's Palace. After the New York Times article, it's astounding. And that's out there, and yet detailing what happened with Susan and Mark's sting operation in detail. And in fact, Holy Kool-Aid made a video interviewing both of them with clips and audio of what happened in this sting operation. And it didn't matter. Got 2 TV shows and a Vegas gig out of it because people don't care because they want to make money.
Well, we care, but it's hard because people want, as you say, they want to believe these things are true. They want to believe that there's magic in the world. They want to believe people have special powers. They want to believe, and it's hard, it is so hard for people to let go of the fact that this is all there is. This is it. The world is fascinating, but very mundane.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the video or the song Storm by Tim Minchin?
Yes, I have. Yes.
I think it ends, the thing is he's suffering at a dinner party with some, somebody who believes all the paranormal and the stuff out there. And I think he goes, why isn't this fantastic universe enough? Why do you have to make this? That always reminds me that video, that song, it's a beat poet song, always reminds me of a lot of people I know, because apparently it's not enough. As my friend at Lockheed said, Rob, if you take this away from me, I got nothing to live for. That's just sad.
Yep. And like my favorite song by Tim Minchin is "Fuck the Pope," but that's just a person.
I don't know if I know that one.
Oh, it's so good. It's so fun. If you're a Catholic, it's great.
My favorite is actually "Thank You God" when he starts on stage apologizing, right? That he was an atheist.
Yep.
God healed the cataracts of somebody.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like the whole
Yeah,
London
my
Symphony
favorite
Orchestra.
is Fuck the Pope, but that's my favorite one.
But I thank you God, it's the
So,
whole. I
but
think it's the London Symphony Orchestra playing. It's like it looks like a 50-piece orchestra playing.
that's awesome.
Freaking amazing.
Thank you, God, for Tim mentioning.
You think we could get him? You think you could get him on here, or we can get him on our
I don't think so. I'm not that important enough. Like I gotta. Like I think I'm hitting top tier with Seth next week. So like
It's hard to get above that.
it is. Well, I was just super charged. Like Seth I just was like, hey, be my friend. Like,
So I interviewed Seth for CFI. Somebody should put the link in the chat if you could.
yeah, yeah, you should put a link in the chat. Hold on. I'll find it.
Yeah, that was really fun. I wrote a couple of things for CFI. One was interview of him. Another one was Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity. That was fantastic.
Mr. G was a lot of fun when he did his RFRX talk. That was really.
I couldn't believe he agreed to do that with us. That was fantastic. So if people don't know, you got to find that RFRX. Mr. Deity dropped by and he played himself for us. He talked to
we got God.
We got God. And we got to grill him on why you create a fucked up planet like this. And yeah, it was really good.
The first video I ever saw of Mr. Deity was the one he was talking about genitals of God, like God designed like man and women, and it was hilarious. Like, why didn't you clean it up? It's like, well, we had these extra parts. Like, it was just really funny. So it was a lot of fun. Like very fun. Like it's kind of a bummer he's not doing it as much anymore, but it's a good time.
Yeah, I got to interview him for CFI on video as Mr. Deity himself, and then I invited him to RFR, and he did it again for us, which was cool. So I don't remember which one it was in. It might have been the one I did. I think it was the one I did for CFI, and basically, I asked him like, why does he, not seem sometimes to care about humans? And well, you guys are an afterthought. This is galaxy 500 million light years away. That's the one I care about. You guys just happen to pop here. Like you're an afterthought. That cares about you,
right? Okay, so I gotta wrap this party up. I love talking to you. Like we're friends, and we could talk about this for hours. But I am gonna wrap it up.
I've ever had though, I gotta say.
I know it's been 2 hours, over 2 hours. So I know it goes by fast. Like that's the thing. And we stayed on topic. We talked about skeptic stuff the whole time.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Up a bit, but that was expected.
Yeah, and the cat. Well, we did talk about cats.
Okay, so do me a favor and share my link tree, which I just put in the private stream because I don't.
Okay, I will put it. I will also put it in. I'll share it, and I will also put it in the doobly doo.
Okay.
Which is the most.
So if anybody wants to see, I created a link tree a couple of years ago, and I basically update it with anything I do regarding skepticism or humanism. It's got every interview I've done.
I know you have been here the whole time, Miss Sequitur. You've been here the whole time. But for everybody that did stop in, and even if it was only for a few minutes, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate attention. I love attention. And like, thank you, Rob. Like, okay, so finish talking about your link tree, and then I'll do my shilling.
No, I'm gonna say. So I created a link tree and I broke it up into everything I've done in the skeptical and humanist universe since I started all of that. So it has like links to my online text articles and all of my interviews. If I've done anything for recovering from religion, that's a separate tab. All of the times I've co-hosted, RFRX is a separate tab. And anyway, so you can find everything I've done there. The interviews that I talked about before are all in the video interview tab. So you could find the ones with Penn and Teller and Mr. Deity. and people I didn't mention either, which are really going to be Neil deGrasse Tyson might be fun to watch. So yeah, I've had fun in being in a position to interview all of these very interesting and famous people, including one of my favorites, Q from Star Trek. So that was fantastic. So I got a video of that there. And
Yeah, I'm not jealous.
I'm one of the people I know who's been snapped live on that recording into the continuum by Q. So go watch that.
Yeah, I'm not jealous. Not at all. Like, I'm not jealous. My favorite character. Not jealous. Not jealous one bit.
So hard not to fanboy.
Like I would totally fangirl. I'd be like, I'm talking to Q. Like, what is my life now?
So for people who don't know, why would I interview Q, right? So John Delancey is a skeptical activist, a humanist activist. In fact, at the Freedom from Religion Foundation's Scopes Monkey trial anniversary coming up this year, he is going to be doing a segment of his one-man play live there. So that might be enough reason for people.
He also plays the best pony in My Little Pony. He plays Discord. So.
Hated the fact that his Wikipedia article concentrated on that to the exclusion of everything else.
I know, but it was such a good, like, it's the best character. Sorry.
I've done all these Shakespeare themes and
I'm known as it's the best thing. It's the best character. I'm sorry.
He spoke at the Reason rally in 14 in DC. And if you look at his Wikipedia article, I included a link there to that speech, and you have to go watch that. He brought the house down essentially by speaking as Q. And I can't do it justice. It was basically, I'm here as a god, and just like all the other gods before me, my parts are written by humans trying to convince you of the truth. It was amazing.
No, really awesome.
And luckily, somebody captured.
Oh, what happened? I didn't touch shit. I didn't touch damn.
It's the gremlins. So just to finish that up, he's a humanist. He was going to be speaking at the conference on humanism, and I agreed to interview him on that subject and not Star Trek. And yes, it was so hard not to talk to him about Star Trek.
Oh my God, yeah, because I would want to talk about Star Trek. Is this the best show? Like, whenever it's like, are you into Star Wars? I'm like, yes, but if you really want to, float my boat, we'll talk about Star Trek.
Okay, so here's an inside scoop. I've never said this anywhere publicly.
Okay, all right. Ooh, I get an inside scoop.
You have to go. So maybe we have to go. We have to go. What time is it? 9:16.
No, you need to tell me. I want to know. You don't drop a bomb and not reveal it to me.
When I was interviewing him, the trailer for the series Picard had just aired, right? And Q is nowhere to be seen. So when I'm talking to him, I did interview, and this is when I was doing a text interview. This wasn't video, but I was recording it. So I actually have a recording of this comment, interestingly, an audio recording. And I said, John, are you going to be in the series? And he goes, no. Why would they invite me? It would look like a geriatric Q. How are they going to explain that? Because he's like nearing 75 or something now, right? And he's an immortal being. He's not supposed to age, right? So I said, that would be easy. You made yourself look like that because Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard, looks 40 years older, and you didn't want to make him feel bad. And he goes, that's a wonderful idea. But they'll never go for that. In season 2, that's exactly what they did.
Exactly what happens. Yeah.
I never got any screen credit. I never got any money for that. But I'm telling you, I gave them the idea.
There you go. See?
I have it recorded.
It probably came in the writer's room.
End your show.
End your show. Okay. So, hey everybody. Next week, Seth Andrews is going to be here. He is going to talk about I forget the title. Give me a second. I'm a professional. Hold on. Nobody put it in the chat. I got my list. Hold on. Oh my God. Welcome to ADHD land. So he's going to talk about, okay, I didn't put the title on this one. All right, never mind. We're going to talk about why some believers fall for godlike men, like very powerful people. So we're going to talk about that. So that please come. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, please email me here. I love guests, and this is like a very easy. We just literally, you get to pick the topic, and we'll talk about it for at least 2 hours. We don't have to talk about the whole topic. When Neil, the 604 atheist was on, we started talking about deconstruction and deconversion, and then we ended up talking about Legos for 30 minutes. So, Neil loves to do Legos.
We didn't even touch on ghosts.
No, we did not touch it. Well, that'll be your part 2. We can come back. We'll schedule for May or June and come back and talk about ghosts. So you're coming back. It's fine. So also please subscribe, ring bells. It's every Thursday. Well, no, actually I have a couple. Cindy Plaza will be on the 24th of this month, and I think. Yeah. And then Secular Rarity is going to be on a Monday this month. Because he's doing this humanist skeptic project in Tennessee that he wants to talk about, so he'll be back. So next week is Seth. The following week is Stephanie. Contradiction from our farm will be here the following week talking about purity culture. So that will be fun too. So come for that. So and Mormonism, which is always I love talking about wacky religions. It makes me so happy. And I have Nick Soder coming up, and then John Gleason, the Godless Engineer. Dave Fitzgerald's going to be here. So I know all the cool people. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on BlueSky, Instagram, Facebook. Do the things. And I think that's it. So come here next week. Come watch Seth, and subscribe, share, tell people how cool I am. That'd be great. Also, you can check out all of our stuff for recovering from religion. So if you or someone you know is dealing with doubt or non-belief issues related to that, or you just want to get more stuff into your noodle, go to recoveringfromreligion.org. And also, you should come to the podcast on Monday nights. Do that too. Do that. Talk. You can see Rob talk to people. So,
and you sometimes. You haven't been.
And me sometimes. I did that too. So, anyway, so do that. And otherwise, I'll see you all next week. Give someone a compliment. Be kind. Stay skeptical. And I will see you all next week. Bye.